Hi, Mark Reedy here. Just wanted to go over real quickly some updates we've made in 4.6.26.009, released May 9th of 2019. And I don't think I've made a video since 0.005, so I'll give you a couple of other things we did previously as well. First thing I want to talk about is we've updated the workflow for entering your own custom labor rate in a work order. So basically, if we go over here to work orders and I go and open up a labor item, and we're going to choose something here. So we have a person's name, and let me just add a new, like we're going to add a new labor item. So I'm going to choose how many hours, and so it defaults to the company labor rate here, whatever we've set in my company information. So if I change this to something different, and before what would happen is then if you went down here and chose an employee, then it would override, it would go back and refresh it with the default labor rate. So basically now if we choose an employee, we get this button up here that says used cost defaults. So now you can see that it doesn't change the custom labor rate that I put in, but we have the button to use the defaults if we want to. Also keep in mind that in one of the more recent versions we've actually added the ability to have each employee with their own labor rate. So basically what this does is that you choose the employee, and then it's going to look to see if the employee has his own labor, his hourly labor rate, and if the check mark is checked for them to use that. And then if not, then it's going to use the company labor rate. So if we haven't, so if we wanted, so if this person Andrew had his own custom labor rate and we used use cost defaults, it would use his labor rate, not the company labor rate. All right, so if I choose this now, it goes back to the $88 that it was before. So that's what we've done there. So next, over in the work orders printout, I'm going to cancel that. In the printout here, well, let me just add something. I'm going to add a repair code here, and I'm going to go over to parts and materials used. I'm just going to add a part, and we're going to choose a repair code, save and close that, and let's put a quantity and a cost. Okay, so now we have a repair code for the part, and we have a repair code for the labor. So if I go over here to print, you can see here when this if you have this pop up, you can turn this off, but if you still have it turned on, you can choose the work order format. So it defaults to this default work order printing format. That's the regular one that it uses. We have a number of other ones in here, and the most recent one adds repair codes for parts and labors. Otherwise it's the same as default. So if I choose that one, say no to print as an invoice, and you'll see here now we've got the repair code column here for the labor and the repair code here for the part. All right, so if every part or every labor item has a different repair code, it's going to show you that repair code in this particular work order printout. We had this requested because some people needed it to pass on to their accounting department so that they could enter it into a different system. So that is that one. And then what we did is on the work orders list. So if you go to forms, work orders list. Now you may not have seen this before, but we have the date from and date to. It just defaults when it first opens to show 1 month back. All right, so now if I can, what we can do here is we can do any 4-year interval. So I could do anything. I could do like 2012 to 2016, 2015 to 2019, and so forth. So I'm going to go ahead and change this to say 2017, and then I'm going to apply the date filter. And so now we have all the information from 2017 through 2019. So we were getting an error when you change that date, and say you had, for example, part number. Say you were doing you wanted to look at the part number column. Well, you can see here this changes that particular column. It's the short description becomes the part number, and if we scroll down, you'll see some part numbers. There we go. So those are the part numbers. And so basically what was happening, if you didn't have anything here, like you weren't looking for a specific part number and you had left that blank and you changed the date, you were getting an error. So now you can change the date and you're not going to get an error. So if I just go back like to January, apply the filter, and see we're not getting any error there. So hopefully that's helpful for you. And then we also added oh, that's it. So yeah, so basically that's it for this version. And some of the other things we did in the previous couple of versions are, well, this date requested field here, that was something that came in 0.008. And we had an error message when you were adding parts to a work order, where the cost for the part in parts inventory had been removed or deleted somehow. And so if you were trying to add a part to a work order and the part cost had been deleted, where the user was able to delete the part cost, so that error has been fixed, so you no longer get an error if the part cost is like empty or, yeah, empty. We had the backup and compact data window had been shrunk down on 4.6.26.007, so we increased the size back to the normal size, so that is fixed. That's not going to be shrunken down, and it was basically in 0.005, I think it was. And then it had an error when you were running the fuel log, and if you double clicked on the state or province field without adding any fuel log data first, you were getting an error. So now you're not getting an error for that error message. And also in version 4.6.26.005, I think it was, or maybe 7, we removed the autocorrect feature. So what was happening was when somebody was trying to enter a part number, and say the part number ended in like -NWO, well, it was getting corrected to NOW. So it was correcting NWO to now NOW. It was sort of like an autocorrect, or it's exactly what it was an autocorrect. And it just was impossible to get around. So we turned off the autocorrect feature, so now what you type is what you get. We updated the screen size issue on the all equipments reports, cost per mile per hour report. That had been shrunk down, I believe, and so that has been fixed. And we had an issue with the reminders pop-up screen not going to the piece of equipment when you double clicked it. So if we go over here to forms, reminders pop-up, and then you click on a piece of equipment, you can see in the background here that piece of equipment has been selected, and so that's the piece of equipment we're looking at. Double click on another one, it brings you to that one. That had been disabled on a previous iteration of 4.6.26, so it has been re-enabled and it's working fine now. And I believe that's about it. So hopefully those are helpful for you, and we continue to make improvements and updates. Thanks for watching. Have a good one. Take care.